Alton Montgomery, the rookie, has been running back kicks, but he's hurt. And so Johnson is back there along with Winder. And it's in Vance's direction. He takes it at the 2-yard line and then stumbles. A flag goes down as he goes down at the 19-yard line. So a penalty on the run back. The referee tonight is Dale Hamer. And his mic is not open, but the penalty is against the Denver Broncos. So Dan Reeves, and you'll remember during training camp this year, Reeves with a heart problem, had his arteries cleared, missed a week, and then came back, and John Elway guiding the team. Elway had his best camp and has played decently this year. With Humphrey, who's been terrific. Steve Sewell's a little banged up, the utility back. Johnson and Jackson are the wide receivers. Kay is the tight end. Gerald Perry does not start tonight at left tackle. He's hurt. It's Darrell Hamilton getting the start. And they begin with 3 tight ends. That's Mobley in the backfield with Humphrey, and Humphrey can't get out of the backfield as Mike Johnson is there to wrap him up back at the 6-yard line. Now the Cleveland defense. The Browns going with a 4-man line. The veteran Bubba Baker with Chris Pike. Michael Dean Perry, the Fridges brother, has turned into a terrific defensive lineman. Matthews and Johnson were holdouts in camp, so they got late starts. Blaylock and Raymond Claiborne, the longtime Patriot, with Wright and Gash, the safeties. And Frank Minifield did sign. There he is. He signed last week, and he will play in nickel situations. They have activated him for the game. 2nd and 13 from the 6 as Elway on a little roll throws, and the catch is made by Vance Johnson, who gets tumbled out of bounds at the 14-yard line, and the crowd thought it was a late hit, but there's no flag. Thane Gash was there, and Gash, a la Ronnie Lott, a la Steve Atwater of Denver, a very hard hitter.
We'll see some hitting tonight. You left out another one too with Dennis Smith, the other safety, as we watch Gash come up. But Atwater and Dennis Smith and Thane Gash, they play that safety position almost like a linebacker, and you got a quick glimpse of it right there.
I think the crowd has a good reason to moan. That hit was a good 2 yards out of bounds.
3rd and 5 at the 13-yard line. Browns with a 4-man rush. Elway has time and completes it for a first down to Vance Johnson up at the 24-yard line. Stopped by Stephen Braggs, and so Johnson, the last time we saw him on Monday night, he made that critical 4th down reception to set up the win against Kansas City, has already caught 2 balls.
Well, there's pass protection that Bernie Kosar must be envious of. John Elway had plenty of time, a crossing pattern. Vance Johnson comes all the way across the formation, and it takes no one in a quarterback space to set that kind of a pattern up. Good job up front by the guys in orange.
1st and 10 Broncos out at the 24-yard line. Elway protected well again, and this is Mark Jackson making the catch at the 32-yard line for a pickup of close to 8. Ray Claiborne on the coverage.
And again, Elway with a lot of time. Good protection. That was a deep out by Mark Jackson, and Jackson just turned on a quick look for speed and then broke to the outside. Look at that protection. Now that pass, a deep out like that, takes a lot of time to get off, and no one even close to John Elway. And of course, that is reflected in the number of sacks on the part of these Cleveland Browns. They've only had 8 in 4 games, and that won't get it done.
2nd and a short 2 up at the 33. And the Browns jump. Contact is made. The play is whistled dead. It was Chris Pike coming across the line for Cleveland.
I don't know that any broadcasting crew that's ever been to Mile High Stadium doesn't spend time talking about John Elway and his ability to draw a defensive line offsides. He has a cadence and a hard count that if you are the least bit itchy on the defensive line, he will get you across. You can see number 75, Chris Pike, the defensive tackle, was across the line of scrimmage, and a big guy, 6'8", 300 pounds, trying to get a head start to chase number 7. But Elway is good for 2 or 3 offsides a game. Look at the head movement.
And it's more effective too, Dan, when you have not been getting a good pass rush. You're trying harder, you're trying to get a jump on the count, and consequently the offside.
Mobley almost jumped as well, the tight end for Denver. From the 38-yard line, Elway with the hot hand, and the open receivers hits Ricky Nattiel. And that's a first down at the Cleveland 46-yard line as Nattiel comes back from surgery. Had a broken kneecap last year, and they didn't know how he would respond this year, but he played well last week at Buffalo and makes the catch here tonight.
One of the rare zone defenses you find this Cleveland Brown team in. They like to play man-to-man under Bud Carson. That time they went to the zone, and a good read by Nattiel, a good read by Elway, broke it to the outside, and Elway, doing what he does best, does it on the run.
Well, Bud Carson's got to make a decision now, and that's how does he get to John Elway. They're going to have to gamble and blitz. Either that or somebody in the front four is going to have to make a big play.
And to keep them honest, here's Humphrey. Inside the 30. And the league's leading rusher is out of bounds at the 21-yard line.
Beautiful call, Frank. Beautiful call.
Then what we've been saying, no pressure on Elway, and of course they're getting the word from the bench, we got to get to him. They're saying to themselves, we got to get to Elway. So consequently, you give up your normal pass rushing routes. You go for the inside, go for the outside, and you set yourself up for the draw.
Jim Juriga there, the left guard at the line of scrimmage, turns Michael Dean Perry to the inside, but then, boy, look at Bobby Humphrey. His movement in the open field ends up being boxed out by Raymond Claiborne, but boy, what a fine call.
First down, Denver at the 21-yard line. The fake to Humphrey, the pass to Bratton, and Bratton is run out of bounds by Thane Gash after a pickup of 5. So this drive, which began at the 9, is now down at the Cleveland 16 with 11:03 to go in the first quarter.
And what a pretty drive it's been. Bratton had a difficult time getting the handle on this one. It was maybe thrown a little too perfectly right in the hands, and maybe thinking about running before he put it away, but he does collect it and gets good yardage out of it.
Elway is a perfect 5 for 5 for 48 yards on this drive. 2nd and 5 at the 16. Humphrey to about the 13. That's going to set up a 3rd and 2. Mike Johnson, the middle linebacker, makes the tackle, number 59.
When Denver's running the football, you don't have to worry about where it's going to be coming into tonight's game. He had carried the ball 89 times, and the next closest to him in carrying the football was John Elway. He had carried 13 times. The other backs, Bratton and Sewell, had carried it 7 and 8 times respectively. So you don't have to worry about who's going to handle it on the running. And why not? 177 yards last week. But it says an awful lot for the development of that young offensive line of the Broncos.
Well, meanwhile, here's a 3rd and 2 and a situation the Broncos are moving nearly at will, and yet they can't come up with the right play and have to spend a timeout with 10:07 to go. To the left. Sewell alongside Elway in the backfield, and Vance Johnson split to the right. And Elway on a quarterback draw. First down and a touchdown.
Oh, that's why they took timeout, I guess. They wanted to draw that up. That might have come down from the press box then.
When you are playing a team with a confidence problem, this is how you hurt it. This is how you hurt that ball club. You take the drive from your own 8-yard line. Watch the left side of the line. Juriga and Gerald Perry pull, come up on the trap, and here comes you know who. If it's not enough that he's blessed with a great arm, he has wonderful running abilities as well.
And a nice, too, they'll let him do it, isn't it? They have a great deal of confidence in his athletic ability, his durability, and obviously this came in from the sidelines. Watch Darrell Hamilton. He's filling in for an injured Gerald Perry, number 69. Big block for Elway, and he rumbles into the end zone. Terrific drive.
Well, his kick is taken by Metcalf for Cleveland, and from the 10, he brings it back out to the 24-yard line. So the Browns, who just watched the Broncos march 92 yards at will, try to counter with Bernie Kosar, who has spent much of the past 4 weeks on his back. Just 1 touchdown pass in the first 4 games, and he's been sacked on 14 occasions. Leroy Horde, the rookie out of Michigan, with Kevin Mack, starts in the backfield. Slaughter and Langhorne, the wideouts. The longtime veteran tight end in Newsom. And the offensive line has been the major problem for Cleveland. At the 24-yard line on first down, they begin on the ground. And this is Horde going basically nowhere. He is stopped by 91, Warren Powers. Now the Broncos in their second year under defensive coordinator Wade Phillips, who did such a great job last year. Powers, Cragen, and Szymanski, the rookie. The three linemen, Fletcher, Munford, Brooks, who was outside last year, and Mecklenburg, who was inside last year. Flip-flop, Elliott Smith and Wyman Henderson, the corners. Dennis Smith and Steve Atwater, the safeties. Tyrone Braxton is out for the year. On 2nd and 9, this is Metcalf able to turn the corner and then met head on at the 29 by Elliott Smith in his second year out of Alcorn State. And he's a guy that if they're going to pick on anybody in that secondary, he's the man because he's taking Braxton's spot.
You're used to Dennis Smith and Steve Atwater hammering running backs, but that time a good shot by Elliott Smith. As you said, Al was filling some pretty big shoes. Braxton had a big year last year and out for the season with an injured knee.
On 3rd and 5, Cleveland's first play from the shotgun. And Kozar's first pass is a completion to Slaughter, who gets dumped by Wyman Henderson out at the 37-yard line after the pickup for a first down for Cleveland.
And I think that play just shows that Bernie Kosar is like any other quarterback in this league. If he's got the protection, he'll deliver the football. A perfectly thrown strike that time to Slaughter, and Bernie Kosar enjoyed, for one of the rare occasions this season, some good pass protection.
1st and 10 from the 37. Kosar flushed out and then has to throw it away. Intended for Reggie Langhorne. One of the big stories, of course, for the Cleveland Browns, Dan, is that offensive line, and that's not unusual. We had them in Canton in the Hall of Fame game. We were talking about the same thing.
Yeah, here's a look at last year's line as they close the season. Farron, Banker, Rakosi, Fike, and Risen. You can see Risen is gone. He's a minister now. Dan Fike will be back. He's hurt. Rakosi is now over at guard making his first start. Ted Banker's on injured reserve. And Paul Farron, the only one of that group that's still playing the right position.
This is Kevin Mack on 2nd down, and he takes it out to the 41-yard line. Carl Mecklenburg makes the stop. It'll be 3rd and 6.
Now here's the group that starts tonight. There's Farron, the only returning guy. Rakosi making his first start at guard, as is Ralph Tam at left guard. Mike Babb, a longtime starter here with Cleveland, is back. And Tony Jones, only 3 starts last year. Continuity may be more important on the offensive line than any other group on a football team, and it takes a long time to develop.
3rd and 6. Not only does it hurt their pass protection, their running game as well, as they average 2.9 yards a carry. And this catch is made by Brian Brennan, and the question is, did he get the first down? Brennan, a very crafty possession receiver, went out to the 47 and does have it. He saw where the marker was, made the catch at that spot, and keeps the drive going.
And again, Kosar this time with protection. I agree, Dan. You give Bernie Kosar the time, that's when he can do what he does best, and that is read a defense. He's got to have time to be at his ultimate, to look around, change receivers, read the defense, realize a Brennan's going to be open, realize that a Slaughter's going to be there, but he has not, thus far in this season, had that much time to do what he does the very best, and that's read the defense.
First down from the 47-yard line. The fake to Mack on an end around. Webster Slaughter has room. He's to the Denver 40 and to the 35-yard line. So an impressive opening drive for the Cleveland Browns. He's run down by Atwater.
These plays always come about from looking at the videotapes. The Denver Broncos are a tough pursuing defensive team. And, of course, they have picked this up, and they give you the little play action up the middle, and everybody closes down on it. Slaughter gets to the outside and gets the good yardage.
Boy, some key blocks out front. Tony Jones, especially the right tackle, came out and dropped Simon Fletcher. Mere words can't state the importance of this drive to Cleveland, especially from a confidence factor.
That's only the second rush of Slaughter's career. He was drafted in '86. Here's Mack, and he is stood up at the line of scrimmage by Greg Cragen and Warren Powers. We have 5:55 to go. First quarter at Mile High. If you're just tuning in, Denver took the opening kickoff, drove 92 for a touchdown, and this is Cleveland's response. Meanwhile, Saturday on ABC's College Football, Michigan, now #1 in the country, at home against Michigan State. Or on the West Coast, USC against Stanford, 3:30 Eastern and 12:30 Pacific. Who was that who was laughing over there?
As it should be. Of course, Stanford with that colossal win over Notre Dame.
And wait till SC gets Michigan in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've danced to that tune before.
2nd and 10 from the 35-yard line.
Look out.
Kozar sidearms it, and the catcher's made at the 23-yard line by Reggie Langhorne. Kozar again paid the price. Michael Brooks decked him, but the completion nets another first down.
Well, you touched on something earlier, Al. You talked about the 21 times he's been knocked down. He doesn't even count for the times he's been bumped. Look at the top of your screen, number 56. Coming on the blitz, they stack it up to the right. They can't pick them all up. Kozar is able to get it to the receiver. I'll tell you, got to admire his guts. He knew he was going to get pounded, yet he was able to get it there.
Yeah, they bring the strong safety, Dennis Smith, and the back, Mack, has to pick him up. That leaves Brooks all alone.
First down, Cleveland at the Denver 23. Newsome in motion. Off the fake. Kozar with time. Hits Slaughter inside the 20. And he gets to the 18 as they make a little something out of nothing. A 5-yard pickup. Elliott Smith makes the stop. 4:12 to go in the first quarter. Broncos on top. 7-0. Cleveland, by the way, has not scored in over 6 quarters. Shut out last week and shut out in the second half against San Diego at home 2 weeks ago. Second and 5. Here's Kevin Mack. And he plows forward to the 15. It's going to be 3rd and 2. Mark Munford, the inside linebacker, makes the tackle.
One of the problems for Bud Carson this season has been the fact that his 2 big backs, and he believes in a big back possession offense and a strong defense. Don't make mistakes on offense. Let your defense win it for you. But Kevin Mack had a broken ring finger in the opening game against Pittsburgh. He missed the next game, and his other big back, Leroy Horde, the Cleveland Browns' first choice in the 2nd round, also had a broken bone in his hand. So they've never been able to get them together until just last week. And tonight, perhaps for the first time, at 100%.
3rd and a long 2 from the 16-yard line. And they split Metcalf to the top of the screen. And Kozar has to take a timeout. The play clock was down to 1 second. And Bernie looked up, saw it at 1, and has to take a timeout. So the Browns take a timeout at the same relative spot the Broncos took a timeout on a 3rd and short.
I bet we won't see a quarterback draw when he comes back, though.
No way. The Cleveland 24-yard line. The Browns, though, have not been able to cash in this season. On only 5 of 13 drives when they've gotten inside the opponent's 40 have they scored. 3 TDs and 2 field goals. So they have been bogging down all season. It will be 3rd and a long 2.
Kozar complaining about the noise, and it does get noise here at Mile High Stadium.
I think he wanted a
new ball.
Oh, that was it. Well, now he'll complain about the noise.
Yeah, Bernie didn't like the football. It might have been wet.
Browns have one of the best silent counts in the game. Bernie is good at operating it.
3rd and a long 2 from the 16. They send Slaughter in motion. And Kozar completes it to the 10-yard line to Ozzie Newsome, who decided to retire at the end of last season and then reconsidered. A guy in his 13th year, and next stop will be Canton.
Needs only 4 more now to replace Charlie Taylor as the 4th all-time leading receiver in this game.
And, of course, more receptions than anyone who ever played the tight end position. In fact, several hundred more receptions than his closest competitor.
1st and goal, just inside the 10-yard line. That's Newsome in motion. Kevin Mack to the 4-yard line. Stopped by Dennis Smith. It'll be 2nd and goal with a few ticks more than 2 minutes to go in the quarter.
Well, Frank alluded to earlier about how the Browns love a big back attack. Well, this is why. When a big back hits the pile continues to move forward. And look at Kevin Mack here. After his first contact by a Denver Bronco, goes ahead and picks up at least another 4 or 5 yards. We see a hand on his face mask there at the top of the screen. No flag.
Second and goal just inside the 5. Newsom now sets up on the right side as they operate out of the I. They break the I with Mack in motion. And it's a flip to Metcalf. Inside the 5. Touchdown Cleveland.
Boy, and give an assist to Kevin Mack.
You better believe it.
What a lead block.
They sent him in motion, Mack. And he worked on the cornerback, Henderson, and that didn't knock him down, but he screened him out of it, and an easy 6-point for Eric Metcalf on the little flare.
Boy, beautifully designed play.
And that is Cleveland's first score in the equivalent of 7 quarters.
Here's Metcalf now. Mack is out in front of it. You recall he went in motion. Now he breaks it behind the block of Mack. Takes it to the outside. An easy 6 points for Metcalf.
Yeah, Eric Metcalf wishes they were all that easy.
Jerry Corrick, the Canadian forward, has that kick blocked.
Boy, the Browns now for the second week in a row self-destruct on special teams.
I wonder if that could have been wet. He looked like he just hooked that.
Well, it looked like somebody got a hand on the ball. It might have been Steve Atwater.
Somebody touched it, but I mean, he had that thing drilled very low.
Here it is from ground level behind. Let's see who gets a hand on it. There's Atwater.
30, and a good run back by the man who calls himself the Vance. All the way out to the 38-yard line.
Let's go back to the extra point. Watch this area right here. It's going to be the hand of Carl Mecklenburg. But watch, there's no penetration up front. Really a good job up front of blocking by the Browns. There's the block right there. It hits the right hand of Mecklenburg. So what that means is that's a low kick by Corrick. That is a low kick when people don't get penetration and are able to block an extra point merely by leaping up into the air. And Carl Mecklenburg, just another in a long list of big plays for the Denver Broncos.
There was a penalty on the run back, and the penalty is against Cleveland.
They have a personal foul, number 15 on the return, 15-yard penalty, first down.
2 penalties against Cleveland. The first was offside, which was declined. The run back came out to the 38, and they'll tack on 15 more.
Well, they're going to say Wagner hit Johnson when Johnson was out of bounds. He threw himself into Vance's legs, and the referee ruled that the hit came well out of bounds.
It isn't often you get the punter in on something like this.
A personal foul. But he's right.
He might have been trying to avoid it.
Vance Johnson was well out of bounds. The play was over, and Wagner threw himself into his legs. You're right. It's not often a punter can hang a personal foul medal on his chest. This one, though, hurts the Browns.
First down, Denver at the Cleveland 47. 1:18 to go in the quarter. Broncos lead by a point. Elway to his safety valve, Humphrey. And Humphrey is ridden out at the 39, about a yard shy of the first down. Van Waiters makes the tackle. Bobby Humphrey, I mean, he has lapped the field in essence because he's played one fewer game than almost anybody else in the league. And still, even through the games of yesterday, he was the leading rusher in the league coming into tonight's game.
And if I'm the Browns and their defensive team, I pay a little more attention to Bobby Humphrey, even if he's just flaring out of the backfield, Frank.
Well, he's only caught 3 receptions coming into tonight, and consequently, I think that's probably why they laid off him a little bit. But after that one, he'll draw a little more attention, I can assure you.
2nd and 1. Humphrey on the ground, picks up the first down. He's inside the 30, breaks the tackle, takes it to the 18, loses the football, but they're marking it down at the 18-yard line. Denver ball. Mike Johnson makes the stop.
Well, of the 3 officials who were spotting the play, 1 out of the 3 marked it down, fortunately for the Denver Broncos.
That was very close.
Yeah, let's watch this one right here. There's Mike Johnson, who comes in from behind and grabs the football. Boy, that's extremely close. You can see that Humphrey started to lose control of the football while he was still up on his feet. And there's the guy who made the hit and stripped the ball, Mike Johnson, who's limping off the field. It doesn't look to be too serious, but it's easy to play doctor from up here. Let's try it from the reverse angle from the far side of the field.
It was intense until Johnson tried to strip it a la Lawrence Taylor, put the arm around him and tried to rip the ball out, and he was successful.
That's very close. You can see why You could argue that either way. Why the official made the call and why one of the other officials didn't make a call.
And there's no review. Meanwhile,
that's the end of the quarter.
That is the end of the first 15-minute session.
And I don't think either team had their defensive team show up. This has been all offense.
Yet. We go to the second quarter, 7-6. The Broncos by a point. We'll return with Monday Night Football after this commercial message and a word from our ABC stations. Broncos have it, 1st and 10 at the Cleveland 19. Denver leads 7-6. Mark Jackson in motion. And here's Bobby Humphrey only picking up 1. He is stopped by Van Waiters. And we've got a skirmish.
Vane Gash, one of the guys right in there. He appeared to throw a pretty nice right uppercut, and now we've got another one.
Keith Karts, Chris Pike.
Well, you just don't grab a guy's face mask. That's looked like Karts had Chris Pike by the face mask. And I don't see any yellows on the ground.
Yeah. If you do, it's one of those offsetting jobs anyway.
Well, I don't see anything. This looked like a freebie for the players. The rarefied atmosphere of Mile High Stadium.
How kind of silly isn't it?
Blood to boil.
How kind of silly isn't it when they keep their helmets on?
It was a 1-yard pickup. It is 2nd down and 9 at the 18-yard line. Elway is 6 for 6 for 56 yards. Flanked by Humphrey and Bratton in the gun and making a move, Darrell Hamilton, and there's the flag. So the Browns get a big break when Hamilton moved, but then they give it back as Van Waiters comes charging in and buries Elway.
Yeah, when there's a false start like Hamilton made, the play is over. There is no play, so there's no free shot. A defensive player cannot come in and take a free shot. That's an incredibly dumb play by Van Waiters.
On the play, false start, number 69. Penalty is declined. Personal foul, number 50 to be accepted. 15 yards, first down.
That's the situation where a personal foul will override any other penalty. I mean, that's just not smart. Now, it was not a lethal blow. You can see the Waiters did not come in with the intention of decapitating John Elway.
In fact, he tried to catch him at the end.
Boy, that is a penalty that, first of all, Waiters should have never gotten anywhere near Elway because you run the risk of that call.
And they do not offset.
Waiters has not had a sack in his career, so he was a little over anxious there.
Yeah,
you might say.
He still doesn't.
Quite an understatement.
Yep. 1st and goal from the 9. Opening minute, 2nd quarter. Jackson in motion. On a delay, Humphrey can't get started, though. He's run down from behind by Chris Pike. ABC's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Nissan.
Number 92. Watch how quickly he gets off the ball. You'll recognize him. He moves before anybody else.
2nd and goal. Jackson in motion again. Elway with time, and Elway hits Jackson, and he takes it to the 2, and it will be 3rd and goal.
Good pressure on Elway. Here's Jackson. Looks to the outside, now breaks it back, finds a little opening, and then dives forward for a couple of yards.
That's one of the problems when you play man-to-man, having to follow a guy all over the field. Let's watch Michael Dean working against Jim Jariga. Well, Jariga's doing a pretty nice job of grabbing him. In fact, he tried to grab him around the ankle and missed.
It is 3rd and goal. The umpire is signaling for time, which normally means a review.
Well, they might be trying to determine whether or not it was a catch. The ball was awful low to the ground.
Jack Fetty is the replay official. Umpire tonight is Al Conway, and that's Jack in the middle.
Why do I think Kenny Wolf, our producer, is going to give us another look?
Clock to 20 seconds. 20 seconds.
Well, now they're moving the clock up.
Jackson again breaking back. No problem with the catch.
Yeah.
Put it right into the chest and then squeeze out the extra couple of yards.
The only announcement that's been made was to set the play clock, which normally would be at 25 after a stoppage, to 20. Meanwhile, Elway is going to take advantage of this to go over to the bench.
And third down.
And they did review the play. The play stands. And now here we go on 3rd and goal. 3rd and goal from the 2.
Michael Dean, what a player. Pro Bowler, and he does nothing but get better every game.
4 of the team's 8 sacks already this season.
Bronx come up in a very tight formation with 3 tight ends and keep it on the ground, and they swing Humphrey to the outside, and he can't turn the corner. Tony Blaylock is there along with Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson slipped in behind the pulling guard and prevented the cutback on the part of Humphrey. Thane Gash was up there.
The guy who really disrupts this play, though, is Al Baker. See number 60? Look how far upfield he got, forcing Humphrey to swing all the way to the outside and go parallel to the line of scrimmage. Tremendous upfield pressure that time by Al Bubba Baker.
David Treadwell, who won the Kansas City game with a last-second field goal and then beat Seattle in overtime. A 20-yard chip shot here out of the hold of Gary Kubiak. And the Broncos settle for 3. 12.5 to go in the half, and Denver now leads Cleveland 10-6. And he is stopped at the 16-yard line. Well, we mentioned at the top, it's a big game for Denver, but a very critical game tonight for the Cleveland Browns. I think their whole season's going to turn on how they look, at least tonight.
A missed conversion, you factor that in throughout the entire game, but it was a good drive for him. I think this drive perhaps is almost as important as the one they had the first possession.
Yeah, and we'll get another look at the most scrutinized unit involving the Cleveland Browns, their offensive line, who performed very well in the first quarter. They gave Bernie everything he needed.
From the 11-yard line, here is Kevin Mack. And Mack bulls his way out to the 26-yard line. You know his story. Arrested and convicted on a drug charge. Spent time in prison last year. Had knee surgery as well. You go back to 1985. He and Ernest Biner each gained over 1,000 yards in one season for the Browns. So a man making a comeback in effect, Kevin Mack.
Where has it gone, that offensive line? We showed you a little earlier, but it's not one of the more celebrated lines, not the big names that we're watching here tonight. They're young and very inexperienced, and that's been reflected in the first 4 games, and the Browns 1-3.
Here's Mack again. Big hole, exploits it, and gets taken down by Atwater, and 3 flags come in.
And I think they might all be saying face mask.
Yep. 3 flags and 1 penalty at the 42, and they'll tack on a few more.
I think Steve Atwater's left hand might be the culprit. Great blocking up front by the Browns and their offensive line. But let's watch Steve Atwater here, number 27. Ooh, a good job. He got the left hand, and then the right is latched onto the helmet as well.
On the defense, he had it to the end of the run, first down.
And I think Steve Atwater got lucky here with this only being a 5-yard penalty, because there's the left and the right stays on the corner. That easily could have been the 15-yard variety. He got the inadvertent face mask penalty.
One of the rare times you will see Atwater even trying to make an arm tackle.
No, he likes
forced to in the part of Mack. He just likes to put his head and shoulder in there and bury him if he can.
He likes to make a face mask tackle, but with his own face mask.
From the 48-yard line, Leroy Horde is the sole setback. Michigan rookie gets the ball, and he gets stood up after a pickup of 2. Michael Brooks meets him head-on. And the 2 exchange pleasantries, and Atwater also had a say in the play as well.
You get a chance at halftime, hang around, and we have a special feature on Steve Atwater from a couple of weeks ago when the Kansas City Chiefs were here at Mile High Stadium on Monday night. We had him wired up for sound, and I think you'll find it very interesting, very unusual, and you'll get a feel of this game that maybe you've never had.
He was wired with more than sound.
Wasn't he? But he plays that way, very intense, and given credit for really being the principal reason this Denver defense has turned around.
Some of the best sounds I've ever heard. Really good stuff.
2nd and 8. Play fake. Kozar still gets chased.
Oh, yeah.
And then he'll get flagged. Or will he? The official took the flag out and then put it back and said, no, there truly was a receiver in the area. And Simon Fletcher, Ozzie Newsome, says the referee Dale Hamer, and so Fletcher will not get credit for what he thought was a sack.
Well, it sure looked to me like
give me a break.
Old Dale was grabbing for the flag. It looked like he couldn't get it. Now, there is no doubt that Bernie did get the ball relatively close to Ozzie Newsome. I mean, he got it just a couple yards away.
Well, he made it look good.
It wouldn't have been a sack, but it would have been grounding.
Stanislavski going for him here. A little bit of acting. That's his alleged receiver, number 82.
Well, I give Bernie credit.
Yeah.
That's all Bernie Kozar. Great play.
And Bernie says, I throw sidearm anyway. On 3rd down, it's too deep over the middle, intended for Brian Brennan. That's about as deep as Brennan ever runs a pattern, and Kozar overshoots him.
And Brennan complaining a little bit that there was a hand in his face. He thought that Bruce Plummer was there, and but really you can't see that he was doing anything to keep Brennan from getting downfield. Pretty good defense that time by Denver.
Vance Johnson set to accept the kick from Brian Wagner. Johnson is at the 10.
A lot of people forget that Vance Johnson was a all-conference tailback at the University of Arizona. He can run the football as well as being a great receiver.
Good kick. Fair catch is called for and made by Johnson at the 9-yard line. And Elway and the Broncos will take over there after a 42-yard boot. 9:50 remaining in the first half. Broncos by at least 1,600 yards rushing in their first 20 games. In other words, at the outset of their career, they averaged better than 80 yards per game, and some pretty good names up there. Brown and
that's
Campbell,
pretty classy company, isn't
Dickerson,
it?
Yep.
So again, quite a
just 10 of
tribute
them.
to the turnaround of this offensive line for Denver.
They begin this drive at the 9. Broncos have already had a 92-yard drive tonight. They lead by 4. And here's Humphrey. And Humphrey fumbles. It's a live ball at the 5-yard line.
Oh, boy. The Browns had a great shot at it, and Denver got it back.
At the 5-yard line, it's Keith Karch at the bottom of the pile. The center, number 72. So he starts the play and ends it.
What a break that could have been for the Cleveland Browns. As you'll often see, it's the second effort that a back makes that more times than not ends up being the fumble. You'll see it all the time. A back just tries to make something happen. That was the case there. Humphrey loses the ball.
That's Spain Gash. He had a great shot at it.
Yep.
There it is, loose. Hits it with his knee. Scramble is on. Karch gets it.
2nd and 15 from the 5. Elway throws out of the end zone, and that's an incomplete pass at Humphrey's feet. It'll be 3rd down and 15. 8:56 remaining in the first half, and that's Elway's first incompletion of the game. Averaging 8 yards per attempt coming into the game tonight. He was averaging 7.27.
Menefield on the field now for the Cleveland Browns as the Browns go into their nickel defense. There he is, bottom of your screen, number 31. A long-time holdout.
3rd and 15. They keep it on the ground, and it is Humphrey who is taken out of bounds at about the 11-yard line. Stopped by Rose, and the Broncos will have to kick, but they're fortunate in that they didn't lose that Humphrey fumble. Next Monday, it's the kick away. It's fielded by Stephon Adams at the 48, and the former Raider takes it to the 43-yard line. And so the Browns will take over in pretty good shape after a 36-yard punt and a 5-yard run back and a Ty Allard tackle. 8:26 left in the half. Carl Mecklenburg out of Minnesota.
He's had to take up a lot of slack. Alfonso Carricker is gone for the season, a defensive end of one size. Ron Holmes, the other defensive end, out with a bruised tailbone. So Carl Mecklenburg is the key man of the Broncos pass rush.
Cleveland drive begins with the Denver 43. Denver leads by 4. A little flea flicker, and Bernie Kozar is going deep. And out of first quarter, for a touchdown. Webster Slaughter. "43-yard touchdown, and Bud Carson's team is out in front."
And you can't say anything about Denver being in the wrong coverage. I mean, Webster Slaughter just splits two Denver defensive backs. Steve Atwater, one of the guys there.
What a beautifully thrown pass by Kozar, right in stride.
Beats Atwater, beats Elliott Smith. Boy, that play beautifully designed and executed.
Jerry Corrick for the point after this time, and this time it is perfect. After he'd had the other one blocked, and Cleveland is up by 3.
The two Denver safeties, Atwater and Dennis Smith, have a reputation for climbing all over a running play. They fake the run to Metcalf, the toss back to Kozar, and that's what they practice all week.
Team is up by 3, and the kickoff is taken by Sammy Winder and downed in the end zone. So Wagner's boot pins Denver at its 20.
Jim Schaffner was in such bad shape, the only guy he could call was Joe Walton. It's about the only phone call that those two could commiserate with each other. Not a bad drive, huh?
Yeah.
Offensive coordinators don't hang around here too long, do they?
Boy, they really chewed up the clock with that one. 7 seconds.
Well, as we said, the Browns had gone the equivalent of 7 quarters without scoring a point. And they've been into the end zone twice tonight. Meanwhile, the Broncos have given up a lead in every game this season.
They've been in the end zone twice on 2 beautifully executed pass plays.
Elway on first down off the fake to Humphrey, hits Mark Jackson, and he had enough with progress for a first down up at the 33-yard line. He's wrapped back by Blaylock and Matthews. John Elway, a long and distinguished career. We asked him to reflect back on his first game.
Yeah, and I can, and it was really a state of confusion because I really didn't know what was going on, and plus we're playing Pittsburgh, and I'm standing across the line from Jack Lambert, who's got no teeth, and I'm going, this is a guy that I've been watching the last 6 or 7 years, and a guy that's a great football player, a legend in the NFL, and he's sitting there growling at me, and I'm going, what am I doing? I mean, this is not what it was all planned to be.
Elway's first game 8 years ago as Humphrey goes through the middle. You saw the flag come in from the umpire, which normally indicates
Number 66 to the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
exactly what Dale Hamer says.
I wonder what Jack Lambert thinks of that shot. He was one tough cookie to look across that line of scrimmage and pick him up.
Went into the Hall of Fame this year.
That holding call against Jim Juriga, the left guard, the former Illinois standout, who's had a fine game today. He is playing well this evening.
Brings it back to the 23-yard line. It will be 1st and 20. We have 7:17 remaining in the first half. Bottom of the screen, that's Frank Minifield, who just signed last week in the game. And Humphrey gets taken down by Thane Gash up at the 30 after a pickup of 7.
A few moments ago in the play before, we saw Mark Jackson run a long out, and the Cleveland Browns, as I said earlier, they love to stay in man-for-man coverage. Minifield is a super man-for-man cornerback. Tony Blaylock got beat by Jackson. The next play, Minifield, who we thought we'd only see in the nickel defense, is out on the field for the first time. Of course, the long time and celebrated holdout for the Cleveland Browns, also a multiple Pro Bowl player. There he is.
Very acrimonious holdout, and he and his agent threatening to file suit against the Browns, the Falcons, and the league. 2nd down and 13, and the pass is not close. Natil, the intended receiver, Minifield was covering. Minifield wanted to be traded, or at least his agent contended that he should work out a deal with Atlanta. Atlanta apparently offered Bill Fralick, and they said Minifield couldn't come to terms and accept Atlanta's offer, and then he wanted to go to Washington. Washington supposedly offered Jim Jacoby. Cleveland said, we want Lachey, and the Skins said no, and here's Frank winding up back in the same uniform.
Well, supposedly Atlanta offered Frank Minifield an $850,000 contract, and he ends up signing a $700,000 contract with Cleveland, and of course that's minus 4 game checks.
As we say, it's a threatened suit. Nothing's been filed yet. 3rd and 13. And Elway underthrows Michael Young on a 3rd and long, and the Broncos are forced to kick.
Michael Young running the deepest out pattern I've ever seen.
Yeah. It was actually a zig out timing pattern, and they weren't even close.
Michael Young running a 52-yard out pattern. Elway has a great arm, but it's not quite that good.
Mike Horan to punt. Stephon Adams, fair catch at the 24-yard line. Cleveland will take possession there with 6:05 remaining in the first half.
Further to the Minifield story, there has been now a threat of a lawsuit against the Cleveland Browns and the NFL, with Minifield being represented by a former Baltimore Colt, Stan White. But apparently that has not been filed as of tonight. All kinds of problems for one of the great cornerbacks. We asked Bud Carson, would it affect the way he played? No way, he says. He's a great pro, and we won't be affected by it at all.
1st and 10, Cleveland at the 25-yard line. Metcalf, they fake the reverse to Langhorne. Metcalf out to the 28. He was the integral part of the Cleveland attack last year, but now you get the feeling that Cleveland wants to go to more of a big back set with Horde and Mack and use Metcalf as more of a specialist, to perhaps like a 3rd down specialist in the mold of, let's say, Dave Meggett of the Giants.
And really, those were the comments that the Browns management was making the day they drafted Eric Metcalf. They never drafted him to be their every down back.
They split him here on 2nd down and 7 from the 28-yard line. Kozar has time, has Langhorne, and Langhorne takes it out to the 45-yard line, and Cleveland moving impressively again.
Somebody better tell the Browns that they're supposed to be in total disarray and stink the joint up. They're not doing so tonight. I think that may be indicative of the pride that runs throughout this entire organization, and some people, some commentators have labeled the Browns as dead. I don't think that's the case. They may not win their division, they may not make the playoffs, but there's still a lot of good football players playing for the Cleveland Browns.
They win tonight. They're 2 back in Cincinnati, and in 2 weeks they have Cincinnati in Cleveland. As a matter of fact, we'll be televising that game. But Carson keeps saying, we're going to come together, we're going to come together, and maybe, and at least hopefully for him, this is the night it's going to happen.
Mack picked up a couple. Meanwhile, Elliott Smith comes limping off, and he's replaced by Alton Montgomery, the rookie corner, who is also nicked. And we'll see if Kozar goes to work on the left side.
Here comes the blitz.
Oh, it'd be the right side of the secondary for Denver, and he goes down the middle for Langhorne. It's intercepted at the 24 by Atwater. Atwater gets a block. He's out past the 40 to the 47-yard line.
That was so close to being a brilliant, brilliant play by Bernie Kozar. If he throws that ball just a yard farther, he's got the play of the year. Standing in against the blitz, taking a hit, and dropping it in. But as it is, it's Steve Atwater that's given the chance to come up with the big play, and Frankie makes it.
Atwater man-to-man on the tight end. The tight end stayed in and blocked. That freed up Atwater, and he made a Pro Bowl play himself, got off and got deep, and was able to come up with the interception.
Oh, how a play can hinge on just the tiniest of things.
1st down, Broncos at the 47. Elway over the middle from Mobley and behind him, and Mobley can't reach back and make the one-handed grab.
Oh, John Elway would love to have that one back. Mobley was wide open. Elway, bad pass behind Mobley. Mobley could have caught it, but it would have been one of the great catches of the night. And he was so open.
2nd and 10 at the 47-yard line. 4:01 to go in the first half.
We'll see it again, because Mobley covered by a linebacker, and he can get downfield rather quickly on you.
Cleveland up by 3 as Elway retreats on 2nd and 10. And the pass is low, but it is caught by Vance Johnson. As he picks it off the top of the grass, stopped by Gash at the 44-yard line for a gain of 8. And it will be 3rd down and about 1.5 yards.
Well, that was a nice job by Vance Johnson of getting his arms under that ball.
This is the confidence you get now with the Bobby Humphrey back there. You got a 3rd down and 1. You got an offensive line that's blocking well.
Mobley in motion, and then Elway runs into Mobley. There's a flag down. There's a loose ball at the 49. All kinds of things are happening. The play is dead. Cleveland's recovered the fumble. Mike Johnson has it. But what about the penalty?
Well, who has the ball? I mean,
and so much for the confidence.
Where are they ruling this play dead?
Offside. Defense.
Forget the fumble.
Doesn't matter where they ruled the ball dead.
What is it?
Well, I think the Browns might have been guilty of lining up offsides. They may have been in the neutral zone, and Michael Dean Perry, there it is right here. Look at Michael Dean Perry. He's in the neutral zone. You can see his helmet across the ball.
And Pike, too, number 75.
Yep. Michael Dean Perry was the farthest, and boy, you try to get the edge, you try to get every advantage you can, but you cannot line up in the neutral zone.
Big break for Denver.
He's lined up there again.
They should call that one.
And they do.
We've got a flag down. The pass is incomplete, and we've got another flag down at the end of the play. You've got 2 separate penalties here.
Well, I'm sure you could see that one if you were watching the interior line. Perry lined up offsides again.
Michael Dean. Where are you, Michael Dean? You are where you're not supposed to be.
You were going to lose 5.
2 separate penalties on this play.
Offside. Defense. Lining up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
Again, here's Michael Dean Perry. Take a look at where the football is. You can see that he's way across. We're not talking about borderline stuff. You can see Michael Dean Perry right here is the line of scrimmage. His helmet is into that neutral zone.
Well, I don't understand that. If he was a defensive end, I maybe could understand it, Dan, but not. You're lined up 3 or 4 feet away from the ball.
As it turned out, just 1 penalty as the line judge immediately threw a flag, and then a flag came down from the other side about 5 seconds after the inception of the play, obviously for the same infraction. Just thrown late. Humphrey to the 19-yard line and a 1st down.
Those 2 consecutive offsides obviously have rattled the Browns.
Boy, just a simple trap play up the middle, and Jim Juriga, the left guard, pulls and makes the kick out on Al Baker, and there's Bobby Humphrey inside.
Humphrey already with 69 yards tonight.
Look at him cover that ball.
Looking for his 4th consecutive 100-yard game. 1st and 10 at the 20. The clock down to 2:15 in the half. This is Bratton. Oh, now it's taken down. It's a nice tackle by Clay Matthews. He's made a few in his career.
Frank, there's a look at a guy who bounced it to the outside and might have been wiser to take it up inside. Looked like there was a bigger hole inside.
Particularly when you get down in close, inside the 20, and around that area, turn it towards the goal line.
2-minute notification.
And no one in my locker room ever called it a notification.
Maybe that's in soccer.
What age? Of course, we weren't as genteel as Al.
It's now in vogue. This is Humphrey inside the 10, and Bobby Humphrey with a touchdown.
There's a notification.
Juriga again with a good lead block. A couple of offsides by Perry, and all of a sudden disarray on the part of the Browns defense.
Denver runs out of the shotgun formation as well as any team in the league. Look at Hamilton and Juriga. They pull from the offside and obliterate the point of attack. Thane Gash is over, but he's too late. Bobby Humphrey already into the end zone. Some teams seem to run so well out of that shotgun formation. Others struggle with it. Denver's always run well.
David Treadwell's extra point. And the Broncos cash in and now lead by 4. And Humphrey already with 88 yards on 12 carries.
Jim Juriga is having a big night for the Denver Broncos. Good lead block that time against Tony Blaylock, and him out and gets a good block on the part of Hamilton, turns it into the end zone. That's just good work.
Sure was an absence of white jerseys on that side of the field.
You know, it just seemed to follow the 2 offside penalties on the part of Perry. All of a sudden there was a bit of a collapse on the part of the defensive unit.
Halftime, we mentioned before that Steve Atwater.
Dan.
Metcalf from the 8. Slides to a stop at the 16-yard line. Each team with 2 timeouts remaining. Here's a reminder. Excuse me?
You used to be.
John, go ahead. I'm not big enough for that part.
Flags are down as there was a lot of movement, mainly from Tony Jones, I believe from 19 after a 53-yard drive. Denver leads by 4. 1st and 15. Metcalf can't get started. Warren Powers, second year out of Maryland, makes the tackle. He's the guy replacing Alfonso Carricker.
Second-round draft pick last year. He's really come on, and both of these ends of the Denver Broncos credit a lot of their success to defensive line coach Earl Leggett, former Bears great, and he's done a good job with them.
Meanwhile, Denver takes the timeout here because you got a 3rd and 17. Last night, the Raiders and the Bills had a team, and the pass is too long, intended for Ozzie Newsome.
Boy, that looked from up here like if Steve Atwater would have seen the ball, he could have intercepted that. It's like he didn't know where the ball was.
It is now 3rd and 17. It was 2nd and 17. There was an earlier penalty and no loss of down. There was a loss of down with a Colorado team the other day, though.
Yes, there certainly was. A big stink back in my home state of Missouri, where Colorado got a 5th down and scored on the last play of the game to beat the University of Missouri. And Bill McCartney says he's not giving it back.
3rd down and 17. Kozar taken down at the 10-yard line. And the Broncos will now take a timeout, their last, with 1:25, and that's Warren Powers making the stop on Kozar out at the 10. So the Broncos will get the ball back without a timeout.
Think back to the timeout that Denver had to use on their opening possession when John Elway had to call it and come over to the bench. When they like to have that one at their disposal now.
But if you're going to have somebody running your 2-minute offense, wouldn't you like to have John Elway?
Yeah, I think he's okay.
Remember a couple of weeks ago?
Elway, Montana,
Johnny Unitas,
Otto Graham,
Milt Plum,
Charlie Connolly.
Vance Johnson is back to receive the punt.
Carl Sweetan.
Yeah, right.
Pisarcik, was that it?
This guy's not bad either here. Bernie Kozar. All he wants is to not have jerseys in his face. Unfortunately, the jerseys in his face more often than not have been his own. They've been his own teammates, and sometimes his offensive line has been passing him. But they have played well tonight.
Bruised knee, both elbows bruised up.
Ralph Ham to snap it. And Wagner's kick is blocked out of the end zone.
Simon Fletcher got it.
Safety.
Yep. Simon Fletcher all alone up through the middle.
Denver has had it happen to them, and the Cleveland Browns, I don't know what Bud Carson's going to do. A couple of them last week blocked and returned for touchdowns. Now he's got one block. It's a safety, and I think he said he's never felt that kind of a feeling before. It's never happened to him before.
Well, he wins the consolation prize because each time it happened last week, it cost him 7, and this time it's only a deuce.
Unbelievable. Watch off to the left. Simon Brown is going to come from the left side. Here he comes in. Simon Fletcher, rather, not Simon Brown. I've been doing boxing too long. There is Simon Fletcher. You can't allow that kind of a crease on your punt protection. That's extraordinary that Cleveland is having this much trouble.
And the rule is you've got to block down on the man.
Watch Fletcher come in from this side over here. When you get penetration up the middle like that, you're going to have it blocked.
They doubled up out there,
He's
but you've got to
touched.
come down on that man. The furthest man out has the toughest time getting to the ball, and the inside man, of course, has the shorter route. You've got to block down on him.
Protecting your punter, Frank, is not that difficult. Everyone takes a gap. It is not that difficult. And to allow the disintegration of your punt protection team is inexcusable.
Wagner's free kick, and it is loose at the
And that's a free
35-yard
ball
line.
now.
It's a free ball. Absolutely. It's like a kickoff.
Exactly.
It's the same thing. So if Cleveland's at the bottom of this pile, it's their ball, but it's Denver.
Denver acted like they didn't want it.
Yeah. I mean, it's called a free kick. You can
Right.
place kick it off, or you can punt it off, and Wagner punting it.
Well,
And
Ricky
Natil was
Natil,
there.
he was the only alert one out there, Al.
Exactly. This is not like a regular punt, which you could let bounce and have down by the punting team.
Vance Johnson didn't exactly kill himself going after that ball. Vance a little nonchalant.
And so the Broncos get away with it. 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. Elway throws, and it's incomplete, intended for Steve Sewell. That's where there's no question they were confused, the coverage unit, thinking it was in effect a punt, which it's not on a free kick.
It's hard to believe that Cleveland has had another punt blocked against them. Another thing that happens when you have a difficult time with your punt blocking team is that you tend not to cover the punt.
And there is a man underneath a whole pile of scrutiny and pressure and criticism. Paul Lanham, a long-time special teams coach in the league who's had great success in other places.
2nd and 10. And that's incomplete. Almost picked off, intended for Steve Sewell, and Clay Matthews was there.
When you block a punt, it just doesn't happen because you put a bunch of people out there. You look at it, you study it, they work on it. They work on it constantly during the week, and obviously they found a flaw, and it was so easily blocked.
You know, just a little sidebar to that story about special teams. When Marty Schottenheimer was in effect fired, some of the heat he took was because his brother, Kurt, was coaching special teams at Cleveland. Kurt is now with Marty in Kansas City. You think he enjoyed dinner last Sunday?
He enjoyed it more than Paul Lanham did.
It was his unit who blocked those 2 punts, the 2 touchdowns for the Chiefs.
3rd and 10, and Elway going very deep and too deep. Intended for Michael Young, who takes a little late shove there, but the coverage was there. Raymond Claiborne back there with him, the 35-year-old longtime New England cornerback, signed for a huge salary, and that's caused a pretty big stir in Cleveland, especially with the handful of holdouts they had.
You know, the unprotected free agent from New England went for $900,000 a year for a couple of years, and Elway was just throwing this away.
So Denver unable to capitalize and force the punt, and this one is downed at the 10-yard line.
A mile-high bounce.
Off the foot of Mike Horan. 56-yard kick, 47 seconds remaining. Cleveland has 2 timeouts should they so elect to use them. Denver without a TO. 19-13 Broncos. Coming up Saturday on ABC's college football. Some of you will be content to run the clock out. Kozar will kneel down.
That's a decision that's difficult to argue with.
Yeah.
19-13 ball game with that field position. Very little to be gained by risking a turnover at that end of the field.
You're in the game and you're going to get the second half kickoff.
I mean, it's looked awful. It's been ugly for Cleveland, but let's face it, they haven't been hurt that bad.
They might, well, I don't know if they have to run another play or not. The game clock and the play clock are in sync right now.
If I'm Bud Carson, I go on into the locker room and I work on my 4th down offense because I'm not sure I'd go into punt formation anymore.
And that should do it. As I say, the 2 clocks are absolutely in sync, so that'll be the end of the first half at Mile High Stadium in Denver. High-scoring affair as the Broncos lead 19-13. We'll be back with halftime activities after this message from the National Football League. And a word from our ABC station.
I'm a dig. Yeah, baby. Take it to the promised land, baby. Showtime, baby. Showtime in the Mile High City. Let's go to work. Throw it to me, baby. Throw it to me. Throw it to me.
Go ahead.
Let's go,
They got a quarterback, fullback.
I don't give a you play wide receiver. There you go. Come on, big man.
Why'd you help him up?
Mind game, baby. Mind game. Hey, mind game. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
We'll get something.
Hey, Christian in. Christian's still in. Hey, we got to lay it on his ass this time, baby. Let me ready to give it up. Lock it up, lock it up, lock it up, lock it up, lock it up.
He doesn't know what to do with it.
That's going to be a safety.
Meanwhile, there's a flag at the 17-yard line, but now they're going to say he got out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. He was unsure what he had to do at that point.
Well, if he had controlled that ball on the playing field, then gone into the end zone, that would have been a safety no matter whether he got out of the back or not.
And there's a flag, as I say, up at about the 17-yard line, away from the action in the end zone.
Let's take a look. Did he have control of it here? No, he never did. It's loose. It's bobbling around.
So all you have to do is get it and take a knee, which he thought about doing. And, you know, that is really a difficult call for the official. I'm not sure what the flag is.
Yeah, we should have Atwater's microphone on Dale Hamer.
Really.
It's like the old days. We'll try to read the signs here. Originally, there was a touchback signal. Now the ball is being moved back to the 10. So there was a clip against Cleveland, and that's half the distance to the goal line, because without it, it would have come out to the 20. First and 10 at the 10. Newsome in motion. Kevin Mack, and Mack is wrestled down at the 5 by Dennis Smith, a 10-year veteran out of the University of Southern California.
And Ozzie Newsome stands there with an incredulous look, fully expecting the cut to be back to the inside. Newsome trying to block Dennis Smith and take him to the outside, ends up steering him right into the play as Kevin Mack, rather than jump inside, jumps outside.
Second and 14 from the 6. Kozar has it batted, and was it picked off? No, incomplete. Hit the ground. Greg Cragen was there along with Ralph Tam, and Cragen came very close to intercepting it.
And somehow Rakosi got up with the ball.
But Dan, speaking of a moment ago about having those jerseys in your face, his own jerseys, as the Denver defense just pushed the offensive line of the Browns back into Kozar's face.
Third down, 14 from the 6. Opening minute, third quarter. Denver up by 6. Kozar, and that one's batted down at the line of scrimmage by Warren Powers, 91.
Well, you can't blame the Browns offensive line for this. I mean, Denver got very little penetration there, and you've got a big quarterback in Bernie Kosar. Again, though, a guy who throws sidearm. Even at 6'5", it's a low delivery from Kosar because he throws it sidearm. And that's a situation where it was tremendous pass protection. The guy who blocked it was 4 yards away.
Meanwhile, I think Bud Carson's afraid to look.
He has reason to be.
As Cleveland tries to punt again, a low snap. Great play by Wagner to pick it up, and then a bad kick, and it's out of bounds at about the 36-yard line. Ralph Tam with the one-hop snap.
I mean, you'll blame Wagner, but it's hard to blame him because he has had terrible things happen to him trying to punt over the last 2 games, and consequently, he just snapped one off the side of his foot trying to get it off quickly.
Now, there's Ralph Tam, and one of the things the Cleveland people tell you is that his snapping deteriorates the more he plays on an every down basis. Ben Jefferson was normally the starter at left guard. They put Jefferson on the inactive list, started Tam tonight, so he's been playing every down and snapping, and there was a bad snap.
First down, Denver, 35-yard line. Humphrey, and for one of the rare times tonight and this season, he is stopped back of the line of scrimmage. Loss of 2, Clay Matthews leading the attack. ABC's Monday Night Field.
Look at, you see Humphrey going to the one side, Waddell going out to the other side, and John Elway paying the price for what looked like a disorganized play.
3rd and 13. Four-man rush. Elway deep. Elway has it picked off by Felix Wright, who had 9 interceptions last year, and a good run back all the way out to the 36, which was the original line of scrimmage for the Denver Broncos. Elway trying to hit Johnson, and Wright with the interception.
Pro Bowl safety man from a year ago. Nobody in the coverage for him. He just played center field, picked off the ball, and took it back out close to midfield, out over the 35-yard line. Good play, Felix Wright. Cleveland, good field position.
13 minutes, Felix Wright interception. Cleveland has the ball at the 36-yard line. They trail by 6. Play fake. Kosar sets up the screen for Metcalf, picks up a block and another. And a nice little gain for Metcalf out to the 47-yard line.
One way to deal with Carl Mecklenburg, who's all over the football field, is to go right at him. This time they have a little one-man screen. Good block on Mecklenburg. Now, Metcalf wants to bring it back inside, but he sees there's nothing happening, and you saw the quick acceleration, and he gets the first down yardage. They're very close to it. Now they say he does.
The key block there was by Ralph Tam, the guy who made the bad snap on the punt. Redeeming himself.
1st and 10 Browns at the 47.
Bernie Kosar changing off, and he's going to have to hurry to get the play off.
Mack into Denver territory. Smith comes up to help out on the tackle at the 45 after a gain of 8.
And a good switch by Bernie Kosar, reading something that he obviously had picked up during the week when they work on the tapes and get the frequencies and the tendencies of the defense. The key to it is being able to read it. Nobody does that better than Bernie Kosar.
2nd and 2 at the 45-yard line. Metcalf in motion. Metcalf takes the pass. And with some nice dance steps, takes it to the 41 for a first down. By the way, we might as well mention when Metcalf scored the touchdown earlier, it was ruled a run because it was perceived by the score as a backward or lateral pass. And so instead of it being a reception for a 5-yard touchdown, he's credited, at least for the moment, with a 5-yard run.
Now we got the big backs in for Cleveland. That's, of course, Kevin Mack and Leroy Horde.
Horde is the tailback on first down from the 41-yard line. And the pass is to Slaughter. And Slaughter is ridden out of bounds at the 35-yard line by Alton Montgomery after a gain of about 6.
Montgomery's a guy that was nicked. He's got an injury, and the Bronco coaching staff, Charlie Waters in particular, the Bronco secondary coach, really wasn't sure if Montgomery was going to be able to play tonight. He was one of those, we'll take a look at him during warm-ups and see if he can go.
Not a kind game either, is it, Dan? Find your cripple and go after him, and the Browns have.
You got it.
2nd and 4. Horde gets hoarded by Simon Fletcher back of the line of scrimmage.
Leroy Horde is going to discover that in the National Football League, when you don't see a hole, sometimes, especially when you weigh 230 pounds, you're expected to make a hole. I think we saw one of the coaches right there indicate, Leroy, you've got to just take it up and burrow up in there for a couple yards. You're not going to dance outside in this league and break containment.
3rd down and 6. Kozar out of the shotgun.
Comes the blitz.
The pass is caught by Slaughter, and he takes it down to the 22-yard line. So they were coming, Montgomery and Kip Corrington, and on the stop.
The Pro Bowl receiver and Bernie Kosar were absolutely in sync there. They both read the blitz. Look at Slaughter. Takes it up just a little bit, but brings it in before they can get to Kosar. Kosar is right there with it.
What Frank means about in perfect unison is that is not the route that Webster Slaughter was going to run when he lined up. That is a blitz adjustment, and that is how it's done perfectly.
First down from the 21. Mack breaks a tackle and plunges forward to the 18-yard line.
And let Horde look at some movies of Mack running that football.
He's not trying to bounce outside, is he?
He looks for someone to rough up. Big man, goes about 230 pounds. Just watch this for a moment. Boom, he gets rid of one there. Shakes off Powers. And he just made a whole bunch out of nothing. Tough stuff in there.
2nd and 7 at the 19-yard line. 9 minutes remaining. 3rd quarter. Denver leads by 6. Kozar fires to the 6-yard line for a first down to Reggie Langhorne. And they are working on Alton Montgomery. Remember now, Braxton gone for the year. Elliott Smith replaced him. He limped off earlier. Montgomery nicked, and they are really working on his spot.
Here he comes, Reggie Langhorne. They have a couple of terrific wide receivers, and just a little zip to the inside before he can get into the dropping linebackers. Kozar is there with the football.
First and goal. Horde behind Mack. Slices through to the 3-yard line.
That's more like it.
He must have a headset on, Dan.
Yeah.
An old Michigan alum talking to the young Michigan alum.
Well, it's what he does best. I mean, Leroy Horde was drafted by the Browns because he fit their offensive scheme. A lot of times they'll be in one back. Bud Carson refers to it as his big back offense, and Mack and Horde fill that bill.
He said all the great coaches, that's how they got to be great coaches. They had the big back offense, the ball control offense, and they had super defense.
2nd and goal. Here's the big back attack with 3 tight ends out of the eye. And a sweep for Horde, and he gets swept down. No, he's still on his feet. Comes back the other way and still is then taken down at the 11-yard line. Scott Curtis was the guy who sliced through to force the issue. 58.
That's good effort on the part of Horde. He got back of some of what he would have lost had Curtis made that stop. Curtis just couldn't handle it.
So that moves it all the way back to the 11, an 8-yard loss, and makes it 3rd down and goal. And now a completely different look as they'll go to the gun and 4 wide receivers. Kozar steps up after pump faking, hits Mack, and Mack is Humphrey for the touchdown. Kevin Mack barreling through Wyman Henderson and in for the score.
And who says Bernie Kosar doesn't have any mobility?
And great presence.
Great job of staying alive.
4 wide receivers, and he scans the entire field. None of them were there, and all of a sudden he finds the only one open, and he wasn't all that open. Kevin Mack, he zipped it in there. It was a good catch on the part of Mack.
Now we have the officials taking a timeout.
Yep. And the umpire was the man who called for it, which indicates a look. They want to see if he made it into the end zone. That could be what they're looking at.
Oh, I thought he landed either on the goal line or in the end zone.
They're not looking for possession on the catch here. That's
Kosar keeping his presence about him. Atwater was all over Mack. He couldn't have had better position, but Kosar zipped it in. Oh, did he fumble it?
Well, they're going to look at where the knee landed.
Yeah, the ball's coming out as he goes down.
Let's see if the knee touches first.
Henderson with the blow.
The knee touches down at about the 1 foot line, but the ball, and
if the nose of that
Mack
ball is on the goal line, he's in.
Here we have another look at it from the reverse angle. I mean, it appears that the ball crosses the goal line and the knee touches the ground. Pretty doggone close to simultaneous.
I don't think you can reverse that.
I don't think
Again,
you can
it has
either.
to be totally conclusive. And
Watch the nose of the ball. Is it on the goal line?
Well, keep in mind, though, that this camera is not on the goal line.
Right.
So we're at somewhat of an angle from behind.
can be so deceptive. It looked like the ball wasn't over the goal line. Then when he actually goes down, it looks like it is.
Well, you can see the ball is actually starting to come out.
But not enough to reverse it, I don't think. If the play stands, you've got the critical extra point because the game is tied at 19. And remember, there's a 2-minute limit here.
Henderson with a good hit on the big man.
Well, the ball is not across the line, but if the nose of the ball is on that chalk, it's a touchdown, and it is.
We can't reverse that. There just was not enough to reverse it.
Either way, I think if that had been ruled down at the 1 foot line, we wouldn't have seen enough to reverse that call either.
So now Cleveland tries to take the lead, and they do on Korak's extra point. Jerry Korak boots it through after the Mack touchdown, and the Browns are on top, 20-19.
Well, they put the thrill back in the kicking game, though, haven't they?
Brian Wagner to kick off for Cleveland. The Browns are ahead again, 20-19. Low bouncing kick. On the run, it's Johnson from the 7. And Vance brings it back out to the 30, and here comes a flag flying in. Dale Hamer, assuming his mic is working, will let us know it's shaking. Holding against the Broncos. And we'll back them up. And here comes Elway. Well, close games are nothing new for the Broncos. They had a 5-point loss to the Raiders in their opener. They won by a point against Kansas City. They went to overtime against Seattle and lost by a point at Buffalo. And now they're down by a point, and Humphrey picks up 3. He takes it to the 24.
It's interesting, Al, too, that they've led at halftime of every game they played, fallen behind. Well, they have not been what you call your basic second-half team. And Bobby Humphrey grabbed for a hamstring, it looked like.
Keep an eye on him. Well, you know,
he's favoring it, the left leg. He grabbed what looked like the left hamstring a moment ago. That's not good.
2nd and 7. They send Humphrey into the pattern. We'll get a look at that leg right now, and he appears none the worse for wear as he gets taken down by Minifield just short of a first down. It's going to set up a 3rd and inches, apparently.
Boy, after watching him favor it and quite obvious that hamstring tweaked him a little bit. I'm surprised to see him run that freely after making that reception. Bobby Humphrey doesn't appear to have anything wrong with his leg at all.
He's a key man in the passing game tonight because obviously Cleveland is aware that coming into tonight he had only caught 3 passes and they just let him go in the flat, and he's been the receiver on 3 passes and the intended receiver on several others.
3rd and inches, and Elway picks up those inches and about a yard, 2 yards more.
How's that for a line search?
First down at the 33.
One happy spectator looking on tonight, Kristen Lowry, sitting in the stands. There she is with the glasses on. She's here through the efforts of the Make-A-Wish program for children with life-threatening diseases, and tomorrow is her birthday. Let's all wish her happy birthday. She had a great day yesterday, met John Elway. She's having herself quite a time. Kristen Lowry from Oklahoma City.
She looks on, hopeful that her hero can guide the Broncos back, and Humphrey picks up 4 out to the 37-yard line. Thane Gash makes the stop.
Thane Gash is a guy who's been playing a fine game for the Browns tonight. He's been up on run support all evening, has made some open field tackles. He's been there on pass coverage, and the safety for the Browns has been on the spot where he needed to be all night.
Meanwhile, Humphrey now with 92 yards. 100-yard rushing efforts are becoming fewer and fewer. And yet here's Bobby on the verge of going over 100 for the 4th consecutive game. And Johnson was stunned by the pass. And Felix Wright was covering on the play.
You know what I laugh at? John Elway sometimes forgets to take a little bit off of that. Vance Johnson has great hands, but he didn't have a chance to get him up for that one.
Well, he almost wedged that ball between his face mask. Watch the Vance break to the outside. Ooh, clang. And he almost went back and caught it. Excellent presence of mind there by Vance Johnson. He almost caught the ball twice.
3rd and 6 at the 37-yard line. To Sewell, nice catch by Sewell, and a first down to the 44-yard line. The versatile one can line up anywhere. Tailback, fullback, H-back, split out. Flag is down at the end of the play.
You know, one of the things that John Elway does so well is look away to one side of the field and then come back to the other side. That's what he did there. Watch John Elway here. He's looking up, and then all of a sudden at the last moment he turns, but he did not deliver a good ball. Al's assessment was correct in saying what a good catch by Steve Sewell.
Flag is for offside. Cleveland decline. They take the play. That's a first down to the 45.
You know, Bud Carson has always had a lot of success against John Elway when he was with the Jets and also with the Cleveland Browns, but he defenses him a little different than most teams. He usually has somebody make sure he's contained, and he's doing it again tonight because we have not seen Elway, at least thus far, pull that ball down and hurt you with the run.
Elway,
until now,
asks for a block and gets out of bounds at the 50-yard line. Gain of about 6. It'll be 2nd and 4. 3:10 remaining.
The way Elway destroys you, and I know any football fan is aware of it, when you, particularly in a man-to-man defense, as Cleveland plays so much, is when he eludes a pass rush, breaks it off into the flat, you're tied up in man-to-man coverage in the secondary, he pulls that ball down and races upfield, and many times you get your secondary, they don't even release the man, they don't even see him until it's too late, and he picks up big yardage.
3rd and 5. The play clock is down to 2. Humphrey takes it to the 48-yard line. That's going to set up a 3rd and 2. Humphrey closing in on 100. Funny, we mentioned the paucity of 100-yard games this year from backs. Yesterday, sort of a typical day. Only 2 guys went over 100. Neil Anderson, 141 for the Bears. And Emmitt Smith, the Cowboy rookie, at 121 over their victory over Tampa Bay. 3rd and call it a short 3 at the 48. Out of the gun, the inside handoff, and Humphrey takes it to the 44-yard line and has a first down as he stopped by Thane Gash.
We alluded earlier to how well Denver runs out of the shotgun formation. They do it again here. And again, Thane Gash is the guy that has to come up and make the tackle.
Broncos so tough to beat here through the years over the last 8 seasons. It's reflected there. That's 81%. They win 81% of their home games. 4 out of 5, in other words. And here they are down by a point in the waning moments of the third quarter. Fake to Humphrey on first down. That freezes the defense, and they can't capitalize as Clarence Kay is unsuccessful in making the one-handed grab. Banks put the pressure on the blitz.
See, that's how you run one play and set up another. That is nothing more than the play pass off the previous play. I think maybe Cleveland's defense was a little more alert to it than they might have been, seeing that Denver went to the shotgun on 1st and 10.
Little news from the league office today announcing that the most valuable player award in the Super Bowl will henceforward be known as the Pete Rozelle Award, and justifiably so. The commissioner of 30 years, bringing the two leagues together back in the 60s and bringing about the first Super Bowl. So the MVP will receive the Pete Rozelle Award.
2nd and 10. Elway scrambles, buys time, and finds the open receiver and hits Johnson, and that's enough for a first down.
And I know Bud Carson, who has defensed Elway so well in the past, just cannot believe what Elway just did. He ran right into a couple of Cleveland Browns and still was able to get out of it. Let's take a look once again. He pulls it down, turns right into his left side where the penetration is. Now, how you get out of this, I don't know.
I'll tell you how you get out of it, by being one fine athlete.
And then you pull it down, have the presence, and note what the receivers do. They always are aware that John Elway could come out of it and get the ball to him.
I mean, what do the defensive players say in the huddle when they get back after a play like that?
Nothing that we can say.
No. Well, I don't think they say anything.
2nd and 10.
Al, I think they just stare at one another. I mean, what do? There just haven't been many that are capable of making a play like that. I mean, that's one of the things that Elway and Joe Montana have in common. Their uncanny ability to sense pressure, where it's coming from, and react in the right direction. It's not coachable. This guy really can't take any credit for it.
2nd and 10, Denver at the 34. 48 seconds left, third quarter. Cleveland ahead, 20-19.
Oh,
Sewell on the safety blitz, and Sewell can't get there. Thane Gash was the guy who came up the middle to force it.
Oh, what a well-designed play. Sewell was coming in motion, got lost behind the line of scrimmage, and kind of sneaked out to the right side. And had Elway been able to get the ball there, he would have had a free field right down to about the 5-yard line.
Mucho yardage.
Ooh.
That's a ball that John Elway, falling backward, just didn't get enough on. He wished he could have just put a little more oomph on that. Steve Sewell may have even scored on that play.
3rd and 10.
There's a false start on the left side by Hamilton.
And a little skirmish here. Ooh. Got Ken Lanier going at it with Rob Burnett. What do you think, Dan?
Well, Burnett, a good left cross. You could see it make contact. Kenny Lanier looked like he may have been doing work inside.
Yeah. Showed good parrying ability, though, I felt.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get Simon Brown in here.
He's already been here.
Inadvertently, though. Again, we have a skirmish on the field that doesn't bring out the flags. The officials are being judicious in their use of the flags tonight.
Good idea. Incidental contact.
Really. After the play.
At the 39-yard line. 3rd down and 15.
And the teal bottom of your screen, he represents the speed for the Broncos, and he is getting back into shape.
They blitz. They come at Elway, and he's going deep down the sideline at the 5-yard line. The catch is, I thought, made and then taken away by Minifield.
Oh, what a night to do it.
From Michael Young.
That is man-to-man, one-on-one bump and run coverage. The way it is written about, coached, talked about, and now you can see it. Look at the coverage by Frank Minifield. You see more of him than you see the receiver. Frank goes to the sidelines and says, I am worth it.
And Leroy Horde will end the quarter with a 6-yard pickup for the 11 stop by Michael Brooks.
Here's when you have great confidence in your corner. Look at Minifield locked up here, but watch how everybody rotates to this side of the field, and you talk about being all by yourself. Frank Minifield and Michael Young, and there's not another Brown within 20 yards of Frank Minifield, and he makes the play.
End of 3. Cleveland 20, Denver 19. It is 2nd down and 4 for the Cleveland Browns from the 11-yard line. They lead by a point. Kozar. That's caught by Slaughter. That's a 1st down and plenty more, as he is still going. The play not yet whistled dead, and finally he is stopped by Montgomery at the 40.
Well, you got a team fighting and scratching. We talked about earlier, if Cleveland doesn't pull this thing off tonight, they're going to be in desperate trouble. And we got a couple teams coming up next Monday night that in the same kind of condition, Minnesota and Philadelphia.
We do, but you know what's crazy about this game is that you go into a game like this, and it happens so often in the NFL, you think one team has no chance to win. Cleveland totally in disarray.
We talked about desperation. We saw it last week with Seattle. How does Seattle beat Cincinnati? I mean, here's a team falling apart. And then look at the Browns, the team supposedly falling apart. Look how they played tonight.
You can't look any worse than the Browns looked last week against Kansas City. And next week, as Frank began to mention, we take a look at 2 teams that will have to do what the Browns are doing tonight to get their seasons turned around, Minnesota and Philadelphia.
If you weren't with us earlier, the Browns had another punt block tonight, 2 a week ago, and a lot of heat.
2nd and 8 from the 42-yard line. Freezes the defense, does Kozar with the play fake, going deep, but only orange shirts are out there, and a striped one as well, and it was almost picked off by Atwater. And one of the officials goes down as well.
Reggie Langhorne, the receiver in the area. I'm not so sure that Bernie just didn't overthrow that and come a little closer than he would like to Steve Atwater. But he was very well covered, was Reggie Langhorne. But keep in mind, too, Kozar had a lot of time to deliver that ball, and time has not been a luxury item for him thus far this season.
I don't know that Kozar doesn't try to find Webster Slaughter here. He's been the hot receiver.
He's had time tonight. He hasn't been sacked, neither has Elway. 3rd and 8, 5-man rush. Kozar gets belted, but gets it away, and it's caught by Brennan, and a 1st down.
Boy, does Kozar get belted.
13-yard gain. Carl Mecklenburg was the guy who leveled him. Numbers through 3 quarters. Total yardage almost dead even, reflective of the score.
Time of possession almost even. Good game. Yep. Back and forth.
Sometimes, you talk about stats being deceiving. How crazy is it? Last week, Kansas City beats Cleveland 34-0. Cleveland outgained them.
Like 400 yards to 197 or something. Well, that was something really lopsided.
And Denver blew Buffalo away in total yardage. And they lose that one.
Well, here's an audible.
We're down to nothing on the play clock. He got it away at 0 without a flag, and it has it intercepted by Alton Montgomery.
Oh, Webster Slaughter didn't pick up the change by Kozar.
And Montgomery out past the 30 to the 31-yard line. Kevin Mack really buries him at that spot.
Kozar reads the blitz, knows he's got single coverage on Webster Slaughter. Slaughter didn't hear or didn't pick up the change. And Kozar tosses up the interception of Slaughter, just kind of loped down the field.
Frank, it's the exact opposite of the tremendous look we had there in the 3rd quarter.
See, he's looking, Dan. He's trying to hear, but he doesn't get it.
We saw Slaughter make the adjustment in the 3rd quarter. This time he doesn't. And Bernie Kosar ends up the GOAT. Hand in hand with that get a job sign. I'll take care of the budget.
Yeah, I'll bet you will. First down from the 32-yard line as Humphrey can't get started and gets wrapped up by Chris Pike and Van Waiters. All right, let's update some NFL news for you. Roger Craig, the durable one, tore a knee ligament yesterday. They don't know exactly how long he'll be out. It is at the moment not severe enough for him to be placed on injured reserve, but to be determined. Jim Harbaugh broke a rib yesterday, may miss Sunday's game against the Rams. The decision to be made on Friday. And at Green Bay, Brent Fullwood, the Packers say, will be traded or released by tomorrow, and they have reinstated the suspended Herman Fontenot. Second down and 10 at the 32-yard line. Elway throws. Open is Johnson. He slips down but wasn't touched, and so he's alive and takes it all the way to the Cleveland 49.
We talked earlier about his running ability, a former tailback at Arizona who's turned into a superb receiver here in Denver. And you saw a good example of it there a moment ago. And again, also, what can you say? Elway just spins away, spins around, and fires one to Vance Johnson.
11:52 remaining. Cleveland on top 20-19. Browns have scored 3 touchdowns and missed 1 extra point. Denver has scored 2 touchdowns, a field goal, and a safety. A lot of time for Elway, and rifles it to Jackson, but he juggles it and drops it. Ooh. That sounded like a hard hit as it hit his hands.
He threw that in between defenders to John Elway. He had everything his arm could deliver on the ball, and Jackson, who ordinarily is sure-handed, you have to be with a John Elway, just could not handle it.
I think Mark Jackson saw Thane Gash coming at him and was distracted enough to lose concentration on the ball and drop it, because Thane Gash is coming right at Mark Jackson.
Boy, but look at the confidence of Elway.
See Gash right there? I'm thinking Jackson got distracted and took his eye off the ball.
Second and 10.
Elway rolls out.
And is that catch made? No. It's Johnson again, and he can't hold on at the 40-yard line. Raymond Claiborne all over him.
Second and long yardage. Justin Carson likes to come with the blitz, and that's exactly what he did.
So it's going to be 3rd and 10. Again, another close one for the Broncos. As we say, 2 one-point games and an overtime in the last 3 weeks, and a 5-point game on opening day. Down by 1 here. Third and 10. Brown show blitz, and they do come, but the Broncos pick it up, and the pass, a reaching catch made by Johnson.
Beautiful.
Got position on Claiborne and takes it to the 15-yard line.
Beautiful.
That's the gamble you take with the blitz. You get single coverage, and that time Vance Johnson was locked up with Raymond Claiborne. Vance Johnson, aware that the blitz was on, kept himself alive, and Elway held to the last second, paid the price, but he put it right on the numbers.
You talk about having to stretch for the ball. Watch Vance Johnson extend himself and catch that thing right on the end of the finger. Just a perfectly executed play, and the Vance, who was a little hurting after the previous play, sits this one out.
He needs a blow. First down from the 16-yard line. Fake to Humphrey, then an end around to Mark Jackson inside the 10, the 5, touchdown Denver.
Great call. You get a defense that's fighting, scrapping, pursuing. You come with the reverse, go against the grain. It worked perfectly. Super call.
We have seen flea flickers. We've seen reverses. We've seen just about everything tonight. Offensively, both of these teams have gone deep into their playbooks.
It's another Monday night at Mile High every time we come into Denver. Treadwell with the extra point.
The key here at the bottom, Clay Matthews, the linebacker to that side, came on the blitz That leaves a real hole in containment. And boy, Denver couldn't have called it any better for the defense that Cleveland was going to run, and Mark Jackson just takes a stroll to the end zone.
The question is if it goes into the end zone, which it does, it's a touchback. If it had gone out inside the 1, but before it reached the goal line, it would have been at the 35. It's a 15-yard swing. And they rule it a touchback, and the ball comes out to the 20-yard line. Pretty close.
Well, the official is right there. You can't fault him on his placement. And if you follow the shadow of the ball, it went into the end zone.
But Carson by 6.
And for those of you wondering, that was not your living room shaking. That's Mile High Stadium.
Here's Ford.
Oh, he
fumbles. Dennis Smith is there. Smith was on top of it, waiting for the signal.
Oh. Well, they haven't yet signaled.
No, not yet.
The ball was loose, though.
Somebody's got to signal something here, guys.
The officials were positioning themselves as if to indicate it's Denver's ball, but we haven't seen a thing.
There we go.
Yes.
Leroy Horde, you got to put that ball away when you're coming through the middle. Last week on the opening drive against Kansas City with Horde, who fumbled at the 3-yard line. It could have made a tremendous difference in that game. Not known as a fumbler at Michigan. A little different area in which he's operating today. They will go for that football, and particularly when they find out that you'll give it up.
From the 32-yard line, on a huge series for Denver's or Cleveland's defense, the catch is made by Bratton, and Bratton takes it down to the 17-yard line. First down.
How discouraging it must be for players around the National Football League to have John Elway on the run. Here Clay Matthews has him running backwards, and then off his heels, falling backward, have him deliver the ball with such accuracy. How frustrating. I can't imagine how difficult it must be. What a rare treat to watch John Elway, quarterback a football team.
Browns keeping that dubious streak alive. From the 16. Humphrey gets wrestled down. Nice tackle made by Van Waiters. Second down and 9 at the 16-yard line.
Well, what a difference Humphreys has made to this offense of the Denver Broncos. When you can run the football, they have been able to do that. All the time John Elway has been here, they've been averaging somewhere well under 4 yards per carry, and it makes such a difference when you can run the football and what you can do.
And that's why they drafted him, picked him #1 in the supplemental draft last year. Still seeking 100 yards, and he should have it now as he gets inside the 10 down to the 9-yard line. A little shy of the first down. He moved in behind Doug Weidel.
And here's an area of the field where the Cleveland Browns are going to have to gamble a little bit. Trailing by 6 points, they're going to have to come up with a big play and somehow pressure Denver.
And Humphrey is limping once again, and this time noticeably, and he will not come off the field now.
Well, you could see where he was caught that time after the tackle. Looked like he had both of his feet underneath, and someone rolled up on the back of both of his ankles, and you can see Bobby Humphrey looking at his right ankle, kind of holding back by that Achilles tendon area.
This is an official's timeout, and it's enabled Elway to race over to discuss things with Reeves as they work on Humphrey. And this carry here takes him over 100 for the 4th straight game.
Look right here, Al, where he gets caught with his both ankles underneath the Brown tackler.
Van Waiters, the linebacker with a lot of speed, pursued and rolled up on the back of his leg, and now it does not appear to be too serious. If you're a Broncos fan, you certainly hope it isn't, because he is such a major part of that offense.
3rd and 1.5 yards, and the Browns are sending in people on defense as the Broncos huddle. They make the change with a 3rd and 1.5 yards. The Broncos, in effect, just got a free timeout as Elway went to the bench, and they come up in a tight formation with 3 tight ends. Bratton and Winder are the running backs. And Sammy Winder seeking that first down as he gets obscured by the pile. He has to get to the 7.
Steve Sewell setting some kind of record for how many different directions a guy can go in motion at one time.
Out of the H-back spot. He has to get, as you can see, just inside the 7, and he didn't get there. And so they're going to send Treadwell in with a 6-point lead to try to make it 9.
Well, this is the type of situation where Denver has run fakes before. If you're the Cleveland Browns, you should be yelling alerts. Watch for the fake. Watch for the fake.
I'd be surprised, though, because it's a chance to go up by 9 here. It's a 25-yard attempt, and the kick is good.
It's just that spot of the field where it's just an automatic. You always yell, watch for the fake.
Now they have forced the Browns to score twice. 7:21 to go. Bronx by 9. Revenge, as he has come out of the game. Came out after his last carry, which put him up to 106 yards.
That's almost 600 for the season.
By far tops in the league. Denver by 9. Treadwell kicks off. Metcalf at the 4. And he gets popped by Plummer out at the 20-yard line. Bruce Plummer and Ty Allard. Well, the quarterbacks tonight. Head-to-head, Kozar and Elway. Marquee matchup. How have they done? Same number of completions. Kozar with the better percentage, slightly more yards. 2 touchdowns for Bernie, but also 2 interceptions, including that big one picked off by Montgomery.
And you see that Elway has really evened out after getting off to a very hot start. 7 of 8 at the beginning of the ballgame. Now below 50%.
Browns from the 20, and again, Kozar has that knocked down. It looked like Andre Townsend, number 61. They're playing no favorites when it comes to knocking them down.
It's the third one tonight that Kozar has seen batted away.
And watch the sidearm delivery. There it is. And it's a fine job of protection by his offensive line. No one's in his face. But look,
Danny's 6'5", but he's throwing like the ball is delivered like somebody's 6'1" or 2.
And Townsend is only 6'3", and that ball hit him in the middle of the forearm. It's one of those things. Good work by Andre Townsend.
2nd and 10. And Kozar gets dropped down at the 22-yard line. Turns out to be a minimal gain and no sack. It'll be 3rd and 8. Fletcher and Townsend converge on the tackle. And a Brown is hurt. And it is Tam, Ralph Tam, the guard.
Well, now this puts the Browns in a perilous position because Tam not only is the starting guard, but he's also their long snapper. In fact, he's their snapper on both punts and field goals and extra points.
For the moment, it means Kevin Robbins comes in.
Looks like he's going to be all right. He probably took a shot to the solar plexus.
3rd down and 8 at the 22. We're under 7 minutes to play. Denver on top by 9. Five-man rush. And Kozar, it's close to a first down. That's Brennan, the possession receiver, and you can see the stripe. He's going to be very, very close.
He's going to need a real good spot to pick this up.
I think he's going to be short, and I think Bud Carson's going to have a mammoth decision to make here. If he is short.
6:24 left in the ball game. You're down by 9. You need a touchdown and a field goal.
You go. I think you go too.
That's your big man, Kevin Mack. You got to give it a go.
Well, you also have to keep in mind Ralph Tam, his snapper, goes off the field, and the Browns have had terrible luck in punting the football. I mean, that's got to figure into his decision. It's not like he's got Ray Guy and a fabulous punting unit at his disposal.
They're going for it. 3 tight ends coming in. They have failed to convert 11 consecutive 4th down plays going back to last year.
Well, we hope Bud doesn't know that.
Ooh. 4th, and you might make that singular.
Do you take the gamble, too? Go play action. You need to score twice.
Ooh, big risk there.
Ford 33, Mack 34 back of Kozar. Mack, yeah, has it. First down, Cleveland.
You notice going. You think there was any doubt that Kevin Mack was going to get the ball instead of Leroy Horde?
Tam back in the game.
And now the Browns are going to have to pick it up a little bit offensively. They may have to go with a no-huddle offense.
They go with a quick huddle here, and let's see, was Townsend drawn off by Tam? The answer in a moment. Illegal procedure, Cleveland.
Good call.